I sat in the corner of the kitchen at 2 a.m., eating leftover pizza my son left on the table, while my nephew cried upstairs, and I knew I was no longer considered a mother, just a free babysitter. I arrived in San Isidro with 2 suitcases, a tired heart, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, my son would look me in the eyes and say he needed me. The air here smelled different from the city, saltier, open, like possibility. Nico stood outside the small, cream-colored house with a grin that looked real enough. He hugged me quickly, the kind of hug people give when they're already thinking about something else. "Glad you're here, Mom. The kids are going to be thrilled," he said, taking one suitcase and turning toward the house before I could respond. Inside, everything felt cramped. Toys scattered the floor, a laundry basket overflowed on the couch, and a faint smell of stale takeout clung to the air. I didn't expect a red carpet, but I didn't expect to sleep on one either. "I didn't have time to set up the guest room," he muttered, pointing to a narrow mattress squeezed between the washing machine and the back door. "It's just for a few nights." I looked at the thin blanket, the blinking dryer light. My old back ached just thinking about it. "That's all right," I said, smiling. "I'll make do. Because that's what mothers do. We make do." The twins ran in a moment later, all big eyes and sticky fingers. Leah hugged my legs. Mateo handed me a toy with a missing wheel and called me Grandmonster by accident, which made us all laugh. I held them close, savoring the warmth I hadn't felt in years. They were beautiful, underfed, but beautiful. Nico disappeared into his office after introducing me, muttering something about emails and deadlines. I unpacked in silence, setting up my clothes next to the detergent and a rusted mop bucket. By evening, the kids had fallen asleep mid-cartoon. I stood in the kitchen, waiting. No one said, "Dinner's ready." I opened the fridge and found a half-eaten lasagna tray, 2 lonely peas, and a box of wine. I reheated the lasagna, scraping off the dry edges. I ate alone at the corner of the counter. The only sound was the dryer humming behind me. Nico walked past once on the phone and didn't look up. He didn't ask if I'd eaten. I told myself he was tired. I told myself this was just the first day. I told myself a lot of things. But in the quiet, with my feet aching and my plate nearly empty, I swallowed something far heavier than cold pasta. I swallowed the feeling that maybe I wasn't really wanted here, only needed. The days blurred together, one identical to the next. I woke up before the sun, the cold tile beneath my feet sending a shiver up my spine. My mattress, if it could still be called that, had flattened into the shape of my bones. The laundry machine blinked beside me like a silent companion. Sometimes it beeped at night like a cruel lullaby. Each morning I made breakfast before anyone stirred. Pancakes shaped like hearts for Leah. Toast without crust for Mateo. Nico rarely joined. When he did, it was to grab coffee and scroll through his phone, nodding absently as the kids chattered. Once I asked if he wanted eggs. He didn't answer. Cleaned the dishes, washed their clothes, picked up toys and socks and crumpled receipts. I began to learn the rhythm of the household, though no one had offered to teach me. Nico's only instructions came in clipped remarks. "Don't let the kids nap too long, they'll be up all night. Fold the laundry this way. Leah hates wrinkled sleeves. And the most stinging, don't move things around in the kitchen. Raina likes everything a certain way." Raina. The name hung in the air like perfume I hadn't asked to wear. One Saturday, I overheard Nico talking about a farmer's market. My heart lifted. "I'd love to come," I said, brushing crumbs off my lap. He blinked at me like I'd spoken in another language. "I mean, someone's got to stay with the kids." "Of course." I watched from the window as he backed out of the driveway, whistling, a reusable bag tossed into the front seat. I sat back down, Leah asleep on my lap, the smell of syrup still lingering. From breakfast, dinner that night was cold spaghetti left on the stove, no sauce. He called it budget living and winked. But I'd seen a new smartwatch on his wrist and a drone box on the counter. There was always money for gadgets, just never for a second blanket. I asked gently if we could rearrange the guest room. Maybe find a cot, or even just a real pillow. He looked up from his laptop and scoffed. "Mom, can we not be dramatic? You said it was temporary." It had been 3 weeks. I nodded, retreating to my corner. I didn't cry. Not that night. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, counting the spins of the dryer. Every rotation sounded like a clock ticking in a life I no longer recognized. In the darkness, something in me shifted. A slow, quiet anger began to take root. Not loud, not violent, just steady. It wasn't just about the floor or the food, or the loneliness. It was about the realization that love, when twisted through entitlement, becomes servitude. And I was serving a son who no longer saw me as his mother, only as free labor. The first time I heard her voice, I thought Nico was watching some kind of show. The laughter was high-pitched, flirtatious, too sweet to be casual. It floated down the hall from his closed office like perfume on air, soft but unmistakable. I paused outside his door, a folded towel in my hand. "Stop it," she giggled. "You're terrible." Then silence. Then Nico's low, pleased chuckle. I moved on, folded the towel, kept folding. Later that week, I noticed a bottle of perfume on the bathroom shelf, glass, elegant, and unfamiliar. Not mine. The scent was overwhelming, sticky sweet. Not the kind I'd wear, not the kind anyone wears to a business dinner. That night, Nico left in a rush, shirt unbuttoned too far, and breath mint wrappers in his pocket. "Client meeting," he muttered, grabbing his keys. "Don't wait up." But he left his phone, carelessly, or maybe intentionally, thinking I wouldn't dare touch it. I wouldn't have if it hadn't vibrated 6 times in a row. The screen lit up. Raina, I let it ring, then again. The 7th time, I picked up. "Hello?" I said, quiet. A pause. Then a confused voice. "Who are you?" "This is Elvira, Nico's mother." A longer pause. "Wait, what? Isn't this his place? Are you his cleaner or something?" Her voice cracked on the last word. I didn't answer. I hung up. I stood there for minutes, the phone still warm in my hand. My reflection in the microwave. Daur looked tired, small, old, invisible. 3 days later, I met her in the grocery store. We both reached for the same jar of apricot jam. She froze. Wait, you're her," she said. Her eyes searched mine. "You're real." She was younger than I expected, pretty, tense, dressed like someone trying too hard to look effortless. "You're Raina," I said. It wasn't a question. She nodded, lips pressed tight. "He told me you died, 5 years ago, car accident. I felt the breath go out of my body like someone had knocked the wind from me." She pulled out her phone, showed me the messages, Nico's words, plain as day. She passed a while back. "Sad story. It's just me and the twins now, no family. Left. Wish she could have met you." I stared at the screen. I wanted to scream. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to shake the jar of jam until it shattered on the floor. Instead, I placed it gently in my cart and said, "Thank you for showing me." Raina looked like she might cry. "I didn't know. I'm sorry." I smiled, thin and sharp. "Don't be. You just woke me up." Because in that moment, something did wake up. Something long buried beneath guilt, duty, and quiet heartbreak. He didn't just lie about me. He buried me alive. I don't know what finally broke me, Raina's face or Nico's texts. Maybe it was the fact that he could lie so casually, erase me from his life with a single sentence. But something inside snapped like an old wire pulled too tight. I didn't confront him, not yet. Instead, I called Luciana, A friend from my old life, a lawyer with sharp eyes and a memory like a filing cabinet. We hadn't spoken in years. She answered on the second ring. "I need you to look up a property," I said. When I told her the address, she paused. "That's your son's place, right?" "It's where I'm sleeping on a laundry room floor," I replied. She didn't ask more questions. By the end of the day, she had the records. She emailed them over with a single line. "You still legally co-own the property. His name is secondary." I stared at the PDF, the highlighted lines, the signature from 10 years ago. Mine. The house wasn't a gift. It was a shared asset, bought after my husband died, meant to be part of our family's long-term security. I was sleeping in a house I helped buy, cooking in a kitchen I partially owned, cleaning up after a man who had tried to write me out of existence. I should have cried, but I didn't. Instead, I opened my banking app. For years, I'd wired Nico $4,000 every month. It started after he had the twins, when he told me daycare was too expensive and food prices were killing him. I believed him, but the ledger didn't lie. There it was. Boutique hotel stays, champagne bars, concert tickets, a luxury watch, store, a resort in Tulum. I clicked further. Crypto transfers, gambling apps, designer clothing. He hadn't been surviving. He had been indulging. I texted Reina. I needed confirmation. She replied almost instantly. "Yeah." He said he used his inheritance for our Mexico trip. The suite had a hot tub. I thought he was doing well. I closed the app. My hand was shaking, but not from sadness anymore, from rage. But even under the anger, something deeper hurt, a slow, bruising realization. He didn't love me. He used me. He didn't see me as a mother, just a wallet with a pulse, a caretaker with no boundaries, a woman too soft to say no. For years, I thought I was supporting him because he was struggling. I thought he was too proud to ask for more. But now I saw the truth. He wasn't too proud. He was too comfortable. That night, while folding the twins' laundry, I made a list in the back of a grocery receipt. Not of chores or groceries, but of everything I still controlled. The house, the bank account, the money trail, my silence. And slowly, word by word, I began to write an ending that was no longer his to decide. It happened on a Tuesday, after dinner. The spaghetti had gone cold again. Nico had come home late, irritable, slamming drawers as if their misalignment was a personal attack. I had said nothing, as always. But that night, Leah cried. She cried because Mateo had spilled juice on her drawing and Nico yelled at both of them. Loud, sharp, cruel. Not the kind of yelling meant to teach, but the kind that makes children shrink. After he stormed off, I found her curled behind the couch, knees, to her chest, wiping her nose on her sleeve. "Come here, baby," I whispered, pulling her into my lap. She didn't look at me. "Just handed me her little tablet. I recorded it for you, Grandma," she said softly. "Want to see?" I hesitated. My hands were trembling as I took it. The video was shaky, the angle low, but the sound was clear. Nico's voice, sharp as glass. "You're just a burden. You don't contribute anything. You're lucky I let you stay here at all." Then silence. My voice came through, barely audible. I was only trying to help. My breath caught in my throat. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even cry. Leah rested, her head against me. "I didn't like how he talked to you." I kissed her forehead and handed the tablet back. "Thank you," I whispered. "You're very brave." That night, she posted the video to her private channel. I didn't know, until the next morning when I saw the notifications on her screen. Who talks to their mom like that? He made her sleep on the floor? This guy's a monster. By noon, the clip had over 20,000 views. By evening, it hit 500,000. My face wasn't shown, but everyone knew what they were hearing. A grown man screaming at his elderly mother like she was trash. Nico didn't notice at first. He was in his office, as always, but I could hear the change, the silence of an inbox no longer pinging, the absence of calls from clients. Then came the real blow. Raina posted publicly a photo of her and Nico in Tulum, smiling. The caption read, "He told me his mother was dead. She was in the next room. He used money meant for her care to take me to Mexico. We're done. Forever." The post exploded. 10,000 likes in 2 hours. Comments flooded in, calling him a liar, a parasite, a fraud. When he finally came into the kitchen, he looked pale, eyes bloodshot, phone clutched in one hand like it might rescue him. Did you tell her?" he asked. I met his gaze calmly. "No. Your child did." He opened his mouth, then closed it again. "I didn't raise you like this," I said. He scoffed, but there was no fight left in him. For the first time in years, I watched my son shrink, not from age, but from truth. And in that moment, justice didn't roar. It whispered, through the voice of a little girl who'd seen enough. The morning was quiet. The twins had gone to school, the sun was rising slow and golden across the window pane, and the house, our house, felt like it was holding its breath. I laid everything out on the kitchen table. The house deed with both, our names in ink, the printed bank statements with every dollar I'd sent him, and the formal eviction notice resting on top like the final piece of truth. The front door slammed. Nico came in looking like a man who hadn't slept in days. His shirt was wrinkled, his hair unwashed, and his eyes, once so sure of themselves, were frantic. "Mom, please," he said the moment he saw the papers. "Don't do this. You don't understand. It was just stress. I wasn't thinking straight." I didn't respond. He stepped closer, voice rising with desperation. "I made mistakes, okay? But you're blowing this out of proportion. We're family." Still, I said nothing. I lost sponsors, clients, Raina, everything. And now you're kicking me out of my own house, he shouted. "It's not your house," I said quietly. "It's mine too." He flinched, like the words hit harder than any slap could. "You have 30 days to leave," I added, sliding the paper toward him. "I'll give you that much grace, because I'm still your mother." His lips trembled. He sank into a chair and buried his face in his hands. "I didn't mean to hurt you," he sobbed. I watched him. I searched myself for sympathy, for anger, for anything. But all I found was a stillness that came from surviving too long in silence. "I know," I said. "That's what makes it worse." He looked up at me, eyes red. "So that's it? You're just done?" I took a long breath. "I'm done letting you eat pieces of me to feed your pride. I'm done pretending love means obedience. And I'm done financing a man who doesn't even see me as human." He cried harder, loud, messy, the kind of cry that used to break my heart. But now it only echoed against the tile and the walls he never offered me space in. "I don't know what to do," he whispered. I looked at him for a long moment. That's not my job to fix anymore. I left him there, at the table I used to scrub clean, in the house I helped pay for, surrounded by truths he never wanted to face. And for the first time in a long, long time, I didn't feel guilty for walking away. I didn't feel anything at all. The cottage sits on the edge of San Isidro, where the ocean hums like a lullaby, and the wind smells of salt and lavender. It's small, with chipped blue shutters and a lemon tree in the yard, but it's mine. Every nail, every beam, every quiet. Our belongs to me. I fill the mornings with light and purpose. I walk barefoot across wooden floors, make tea, open all the windows. The sea breeze wanders in, rearranging my papers and carrying away the last dust of sorrow. I keep a journal now, not to remember pain, but to record joy in small measures, like the first flower that bloomed on my windowsill, or the way morning light spills across the table. At the local art center, I teach 3 afternoons a week. Girls come with shy eyes and strong hands, asking how to sketch arches or build light into a space. I show them how to draft stories in lines and angles. I tell them they can build anything, even a future no one expected for them. Sometimes, when the girls ask if I have children, I smile and say, I have grandchildren, they're better. On weekends, the twins visit. Leah brings wildflowers. Mateo brings stories. They curl up on the rug, flipping through my old sketchbooks, giggling at the scribbled notes in the margins. I make them pancakes shaped like suns and cats. They call it Grandma's Beach. We build sand castles and laugh until the tide washes them away. They ask about their father sometimes. I don't lie, but I don't linger. I say he's figuring himself out, and they seem to understand more than they should. One Sunday afternoon, the phone rings. I see the name. I already know the voice. Hi, Mom, Nico says, thick with tears. I just need to talk. I pause, let the silence settle between us like a stone at the bottom of a well. Then I speak, steady and soft. You taught me how little I mattered. He breathes sharply. I continue, and now I finally believe you. Before he can respond, I hang up. I set the phone down gently, as if closing a book I no longer need to reread. The wind lifts the curtain beside me. Outside, the sea stretches wide and endless. I step out barefoot onto the porch, the sun warm. On my skin, my silver hair loose in the wind. I sit in the wicker chair and watch the waves, the same ones that have rolled in and out long before any of us existed. For a long moment, I simply breathe. In, then out. There is no noise, no shouting, no door slamming behind me, no footsteps expecting breakfast, no voice calling me selfish, only the ocean, only the sky. I am not anyone's maid. I am not anyone's ghost. I am here. I am free. And for the first time in years, I feel whole.